You're listening to theoutdoorstation.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to another podcast sponsored by backpackinglights.co.uk. Well, faithful listeners will remember one or two of our epic podcasts, particularly the ones where Andy and I have a great big adventure. The last one being out on the hills, as well as going on to the TGO Challenge, of course. Well, we've been promising to do this, and a lot of people have been asking us if we're going to do it, and we've chosen, by luck, the only sunny day of the entire summer, and we've actually gone to the seaside. So at the moment, Andy and I are now down on the Welsh coast, and he's going to describe where we are and what we're going to be doing this evening.
Well, we're on the St David's Peninsula, which of course is a popular area, but the schools aren't broken up yet, and there have been a few people around, but not many. So we're down on a little bay, a little cove, and we've been collecting wood for the real fires that we're going to be using later. Hopefully we're going to find some nice pitches near to the sea with a sea breeze, and we're going to pitch tarps. And there aren't any trees here, of course, but actually down on the beach there's tons and tons of firewood, most of it that's bleached in the sunshine, so even though it's been pretty wet and rainy over the last few weeks, it's still easy to find dry wood. So good tip, I think, if you're using one of these wood burning phones. I've got I think this is a medium-sized X-Bed dry bag, is that right, Bob? It's one of the yellow ones anyway, for those that know the X-Bed system, and I've just filled it full of dry wood. And it weighs about, I don't know what that weighs, it's less than half a kilo, I guess. It's probably about the same weight as a gas canister. And that will fit nicely in the rucksack, and I reckon that's probably enough for two of us for at least an evening meal tonight, a brew and breakfast in the morning. So free fuel. Free
Fuel are found on the beach. What a lovely concept, and certainly on a day like today when it's nice and sunny, it's a very romantic idea to be out here and living in the wilds. Of course, as part and parcel of that, the objective of the exercise is actually, if possible, to live off the land. And we have lovely ideas that supper's going to consist of some fresh seafood, some fresh fish, with a side salad of seaweed, and of course some samphire as well, which we hope to be collecting. That of course is the romantic idea. The reality is we both brought some dried food as a just in case, because I think the likelihood of fishing and catching anything might be slightly different, but I have brought the fishing rod with me.
It certainly has. We've got a lightweight collapsible fishing rod that's beautifully strapped to Bob's pack, and I must admit though, I don't fancy your seaweed. Look at this.
It has a certain charm to it, doesn't it? It's a certain acquired taste, I think. A little bit crunchy and a rather pungent, I think, would be the Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall introduction to it.
What's nice about this area though is that we're on quite a busy coastal path. We're kind of a mile or so away from the leisure bits, where people park their car in the car park and drift off, and if anybody knows it, we're just about to walk around the headland to the point where we look at Ramsey Island, but it's pretty quiet there, and there are some nice little one-offs down to cliffs. I reckon we should be able to find a nice inobtrusive place to tarp, which just goes to show that wild camping probably is, with a bit of sensible, discreet location choosing, is a viable option on a coastal walk.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Obviously, it is technically illegal, but what we plan to do is walk until it's fairly dark and there's obviously nobody around. We'll just bivvy up and get the tarp out, and we'll be gone before 7 o'clock in the morning, I should imagine, ready to catch the next fish for breakfast, I would think.
Yes, and I've done this before. I've never had any problems doing that, and there are people who I know who've done the whole of the southwest coastal path, which of course is a lot more populated than this area, and they've done it all while camping along the way, so it's possible.
Well, we're going to carry on collecting the remaining parts of the wood that we're going to need and actually can carry, and then we'll get back onto the path and get up on top of the cliffs, and we'll pick up a bit later on. Well, we've been wandering along the coastal path and slowly watching the sun go down and enjoying a few stops and resting our eyes because of the strain of such an epic journey. And we found a lovely camping spot just as we get round the headland here. And who should we find? But somebody's already pinched the spot. And his name's Bob Tucker, and by coincidence, he's a challenger and has been on the challenge for a few years.
Yes, 7 times actually. 8 if you count the mini challenge, so it's 7.5 times.
So what are you doing on this part of the coast then, Bob?
It's something I'd already fancied for a long time, and I do these walks mainly for a friend of mine. She's been diagnosed with bone marrow cancer, so I've walked 3 or 4 long distance walks now just to try and raise money for cancer research.
And then that's what you're doing on this trip as well,
That's what I'm doing with this one as well.
You were saying a few minutes ago that since you retired you've been doing a bit of walking.
Yes, and I've always enjoyed walking. Now I've got time on my hands, I can just do what I want. So I've walked Land's End to John O'Groats, South West Coast Path, high level route across Wales. It's just fantastic getting out and camping wild.
This is a very fine coastal path, isn't it? It's one of my favourites actually. It's a lot wilder than some. And what, you 3 or 4 days in so far?
Yes, it's 4 days in from Poppet Sands, and the scenery's just been out of this world. I've taken nearly 400 photographs up to now. I just can't stop taking photographs. The scenery's that magnificent. It's amazing.
And how's the weather been treating you? Because obviously this summer has been rather dubious, to say the least.
Well, it started off, the first day was okay. Second day was a bit iffy, misty, but okay. Yesterday it was just horrendous. The rain just never stopped from morning till night. Everything that I've got was absolutely soaked. Small streams were just raging torrents. And then you wake up this morning and it's changed from, well, chalk and cheese. It's a fantastic day today.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get much better than this, really, can you? And the one of the things I like about this path is the wildlife. I mean, you must have seen seals so far, and have you seen any dolphins yet?
I haven't seen any dolphins, but seals, yes. 2 nights ago, I found just a small little cove, put the tent up, and I just got the tent up, and there's 2 seals in the bay, and absolutely amazing. The 2 of them just played about for all night, and the heads kept coming up and looking across towards me as if to say, what the hell is that? And then back out and back in again. Totally amazing. It's fantastic.
And I mean, you were talking earlier to us about, I mean, obviously one of the great things about long distance walking is it's a reasonably cheap way of doing it. But, you know, you look pretty self-sufficient here with the tent and everything else like that. I mean, how often are you nipping into towns or resupplying?
I don't go off the path to go into towns. If I pass anywhere, I'll stop and have a meal. So my evening meal could be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, could be 7 o'clock at night. Mightn't have one. And whenever I pass anywhere, I'll just keep resupplying with snacks, nibbles, whatever I need. I usually carry Weetabix for breakfast, dried milk to make some milk, cups of tea. Yeah, just as and when you find something, buy it.
So you're sort of keeping the majority of the food that you're carrying with you then, sort of just like enough for a brew and a snack, and then eating when you come across sort of towns and so on, yeah?
Yeah, enough. I'd keep breakfast for maybe 4 or 5 days. So you buy a packet of Weetabix, that's going to last you 5 or 6 days. The rest of the time it's just snacks as you go along, and every time you pass a shop, buy something, a little post office, whatever. And when you pass a pub, bar meals, have a meal in there.
Yeah, well, you've got some nice places to come. Solva's pretty good. There's a good crab salad at Solva. So fantastic. Yeah, I'm getting hungry already. It's what time? Oh, it's nearly 7 o'clock now.
Yeah, we should be getting our brew on and starting to prepare our evening meals ourselves now. Well, Bob, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and it's a real coincidence to bump into somebody, especially a challenger, on a lovely day like this, and this fantastic view. And I think what we'll do is we'll leave you to enjoy your solitude, and we'll wander off around the corner and see if we can find an equally pleasant spot.
Well, I hope you can. As you can see, I've just put the kettle out, just ready to brew up when you came round the corner.
I think we've got to try and describe this for people. You come around a little bend in the path, and there's a little dip down and a little secluded area, almost like a perfect little spot. And there's Bob with his space packer and his brew just there. I mean, it looks absolutely the most idyllic spot, and he looks a very contented man, doesn't he?
Definitely. The only downside of this campsite, there's no water. I had to bring water from White Sands, but it's only half an hour away, an hour away, so I wasn't carrying water for a long time.
It's ironic, isn't it, that in somewhere so densely populated as this sort of area, how much water you have to carry compared to doing something like the challenge in Scotland, where it's all over the place, isn't it?
You don't carry any water in Scotland. There's a stream every couple of hours. So,
you can find water here, but I'm always very wary of taking it.
Yeah.
Taking it out the streams.
I've never drunk anything out the streams. I'm just not sure.
No.
Scotland's wild and miles away from anywhere, so there's no problem, but this is still fairly, even though it's remote, it's still fairly populated, so I don't think I would drink out the streams.
Well, enjoy the rest of your walk, and I hope the weather holds well for you and you raise lots of money.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Well, it's been a very pleasant day. I mean, it's 7:30, 7:40 now. It's been a good few hours strolling, and what a nice coincidence to meet Bob en route.
Yeah, that was a lovely little thing, that was. I mean, I suppose if you're going to go around the corner and find your favourite spot nicked, it might as well buy another big pinch by another challenger.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
that was rather lovely, wasn't it? It's one of those special moments that you get. On the
Challengers
trail.
get everywhere, as they say.
They do.
So we've got the Bush Buddy, the Rolls Royce, roaring away now. Yep, looking in fine fettle. It certainly is. Comparing that side by side with this folding one, I mean, it's definitely the Rolls Royce compared to a bit more brutal, I suppose.
Yeah, it's taken a bit longer to light tonight because the wood's obviously a bit damp because of the rain we've had. But actually, both of these fires are now well away. And I'm particularly impressed here with this mug that you found for me, which fits the Bush Buddy perfect.
Yeah, I think the Bush Buddy website, not the Bush Buddy website, the backpackinglight.com website sell one specifically, but Bush Buddy doesn't. But it's interesting to note that it is possible to get the right size mug via a different make in this country that takes it perfectly, because the MSR mug, the MSR kettle, is just, the lid just doesn't quite go on, does it?
This is a nice kettle, actually. If you know the MSR Titan kettle, it's probably about the same diameter, but it's taller, so the capacity is bigger, isn't it? And
I mean, that extra few mil at the top means you can actually put the Bush Buddy inside. But every time I see the Bush Buddy, I have to say just how impressed I am as a piece of kit.
It's a fabulous design.
It is.
I mean, what fascinates me is it's quite an intricate design, and you wonder how on earth it's manufactured to be cost effective. But he seems to be doing quite nicely out of it. So
yeah,
seems to be quite a content man, isn't he?
It's only 5 minutes, and this is already starting to come to the boil, which is very impressive. Are we having a brew first? Or we?
I think we're probably having a brew first, aren't we?
Okay.
I think. I don't know what we've got to eat. I mean, people will.
Well, sadly, the fish is off.
Yes. I think if there's a rule, isn't there, that you don't eat seafood if there's not an R in the month,
or there's not a restaurant nearby, as Mr. Sloman would say.
Yes. Actually, I'm missing him already. You know, what is he? 3 weeks since he stopped walking, and it must be the longest walk ever by a restaurant critic ever.
I think you should write a book on that. I have to say, it was very entertaining, very enjoyable read. We miss you terribly, Alan, if you're listening.
It's, I mean, there's something about these real wood fires, isn't there? We've said this before, but it's a kind of, perhaps it's a getting closer to the land thing. But if people could to describe this scene here, we've got the tarps facing out to the bay, and sun going down in front of us.
The wind's coming from behind us, so going towards the sea, so it actually works nicely.
And a real fire. It's almost.
Mine's boiling away.
Perfect.
A nice cup of tea.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Magnificent.
A few minutes head start on me, I think.
I think I'll just chuck some more water in there. And it's ironic though, it's, as Bob was saying, the hard part is actually finding good water.
Well, you do have to be careful about water, don't you? I mean, one of the things that I think lulls you into a little bit of a false sense of security walking a lot in Scotland is that in the Highlands it's pretty easy taking water from streams. I mean, you follow the basic rules of trying to take the water as it runs into a loch rather than runs out, and I've never had any problems there. But there isn't much water here, obviously because we're quite high, and the streams that are coming through have come through a lot of very busy farmland,
busy agricultural land,
goodness knows what else, with all the campsites here. So it's better to be safe than sorry.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
In fact, it was quite interesting in Scotland as you start to get towards Edzell, coming out of Tarfside. Everybody, all of a sudden, we're all the same. Suddenly, get very, very cautious about the water, which is a great shame. Where's my milk?
Of course, to compensate for that, there are more pubs. So,
well, this is true. One does have to balance these things out naturally.
People who've done the challenge will know that there is that rather lovely tuck in, I think it's called, in Edzell.
In Edzell, yeah.
Which is fantastic, which does the most amazing alcoholic ice cream sundaes, which Humphrey and I discovered this year.
Anyway, I'm sure this is starting to get a bit boring for people. So what else can we indulge ourselves with? We're very much back to nature. The fire's going well. The brew's, in my case, is ready. What have you got for supper tonight?
I don't know. It's something that was left over from the challenge. It looks like some kind of casserole of some sort and some pasta. But I just had a couple of meals left over, so I just basically threw everything into the pack at about 5:30 this morning. So.
Now, see, you've got a pot cosy for that pot. Now, it's interesting there. So, what do you think's better to get it boiling with the wood fire, and then pot cosy it, or keep it simmering with real fuel?
I think it depends how much fuel you've got. The beauty of the pot cosy system is that if you don't have much fuel, you can obviously boil your food, boil your water, and then let it simmer in the pot cosy. But we've probably got enough wood tonight to simmer for a bit longer, haven't we? So what I like about the pot cosy system is it just gives you that extra versatility. And certainly, as we both know from using alcohol stoves, mini alcohol stoves. I mean, actually, it really does stretch the alcohol a long way.
Well, I think it increases fuel efficiency by 30%. Actually, if you save 30% of your fuel, it seems to be the regular way to use it.
Well, I've certainly managed to. Did one of these little very sad obsessive tests.
Yes, I did read about it actually on your blog, and I thought it was very sad and obsessive.
I boiled some water, put it into a pot cosy, and then left it for about half an hour, and it was still virtually too warm to touch. 45 minutes it was still too warm to touch as well, and actually I left it for an hour and a half in the end, and at an hour and a half you could have still made a cup of tea or coffee with it quite acceptably. So that's how efficient this stuff is, and actually looking at it, it's so simple. You wouldn't think it was that efficient, but it certainly is. And I mean, even if you're using a gas canister stove, it's going to increase the efficiency
Definitely.
of the canister quite significantly.
Well, you just literally bring it to the boil and then pop it straight in. There's no simmering or anything. It's
One of your better inventions, Bob.
Well, I can't claim credit for it, but I can certainly say I brought it to market, as it were. Anyway, we'll shut off now, and before we put our heads down tonight, we'll probably have another 5 minutes. But I hope we haven't been boring you too much. And thus ends the day. It's 9:45. We've been well fed, kept warm with our wood-burning stoves, and enjoyed some banter over the evening meal. And the sun has just finally set and left that beautiful pink and yellow glow in the sky. and the clouds now are just going through that range of colours before it descends into darkness. I'm snuggled into my bivvy bag, and I presume Andy is as well. How are you doing, John boy?
Fine there, Bob.
As you can see, he's tucked away. So we're just going to keep our eyes open and wait for the entertainment to start with the stars. Watch some of the wildlife. There's various seabirds flying across in front of us. We've both got the view looking out towards the sea, as I say, with the sun setting. So the sunrise will be behind us, and hopefully the weather will stay behind us as well all night. But if it changes during the night, it'll just be a case of swivelling around the bivvy bag and tucking ourselves away from any inclement weather. But everything is in the bags, tucked out of the way, so nothing really can get wet. So we'll pick up again tomorrow and see what time we get going. I should imagine it'll be very early. So it's good night from me, and good night from John boy.
Night, Bob.
Can't beat it, can you, man? What is it, 6:30, 7 o'clock? Oh gosh, it's late, 7:30.
7:30. Well, that just about gives everybody an idea of just what an easy night it was last night. Fair little wind. Bit of condensation under everything about
I think it's a very heavy dew last night. Very heavy.
But it was a stunning evening, wasn't it? We just lay down. I mean, this is the great thing about the tarp. We lying down, looking out over the other side of the bay, that beautiful pinkish sky, and then the lights coming on the little settlement over there. And then this morning, it was the most vivid, amazing colour.
Amazing colour, yeah. I think I woke about 4 o'clock-ish, and the sky was bright pink. It was absolutely beautiful, and I kept thinking, I really should take a photograph of this. And then I went back to sleep again.
So, I mean, this area, this part of the world, when it's like that, is just absolutely fantastic. Yeah. The weather forecast, though, for the rest of the day is pretty dreadful.
Yeah, well, I have to say...
we may have caught the only really good day in the last month.
Here we are. I mean, we've just brewed. We had a very pleasant evening, had a nice meal, good chat, good night's sleep, fantastic scenery, lovely skies. Had a brew this morning, sitting here, just contemplating what we're going to do for the rest of the day. How different would that be if it had been absolutely heaving with rain?
It would be different.
It would be different. It would be unpleasant.
I think there'd be a few mutterings and cursings. But we've just, about 20 minutes ago, our first walk of the day's gone past. So it must have been an early starter.
Yep.
Drove past us.
So I think what I'd like to do is get down to one of the bays, or get down to the little harbour, and do a bit of fishing, if you don't mind, for an hour or so.
Well, I think so. If you carried that fishing rod all of this way,
I think I should use it. Yeah,
I think you should, and we'll finish off having our breakfast, and we'll break camp with the always with the principle of leave no trace.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the one thing really should mention on this, that you know, there are rules against this sort of thing, but providing you are completely minimalist and leave absolutely no trace, there's very little for people to complain about. And that's the one thing about these, the Bush Buddy and the folding cooker, is it leaves absolutely no markings on the ground whatsoever, and consequently our presence will go by unnoticed, which is the most important thing. So, fancy a walk?
I think so, but let me just finish with coffee first. There's nothing quite like the first morning coffee when you're...
No papers?
Brewed on a wood-burning stove. No, you'll just have to wait a bit for your Sunday papers.
I can just imagine me sitting there by the pier with you and your Sunday paper.
Yes, I'll be busy reading the Observer from supplement to supplement to supplement while you're...
Catching fish after fish for lunch. That water out there, it's full of them, you know.
Yeah.
They just jump onto your hook. They're bored.
Yes, the only problem is there's bloody big cliffs here.
Well, our little adventure seems to be drawing to a close, sadly. It's midday-ish now, and we've been fishing for a few hours, but sadly the tide has been on its way out, which isn't always the best time to do this sort of thing. And there's been so much runoff of water off the hills in the last few days that it is not the best fishing conditions. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. However, the brewmaster, I think, has enjoyed his break away from the big city.
Well, yes, there's some research I saw a few years ago, some psychologists had done, which was showing the benefits of a 2-day break or 3-day break. Far better benefit than a 2-week break, and you can see why, really. You just get out and, okay, we've had to drive here, which a bit of a hassle, but we've had a good afternoon's walking yesterday, a lovely evening, and this morning just an amble round. We've met a few people, quite some interesting conversations. We've been entertained here watching the kayak school go out, and built lots of little real fires. It's it's good,
Sort of drawn attention to ourselves and our little bush buddy burning away here on the harbour wall.
Well, it's good to know that everybody else is as attracted by these things as well as hikers, aren't they? People are fascinated by them, and my little stuff sack full of wood, there's still enough in there, I reckon, for another 2 days, which is quite a relief, really, because I think if you were doing a longer walk, or actually in the Highlands of Scotland or something, you kind of suddenly realise just how efficient these stoves are, and you can carry the fuel with you. It doesn't weigh that much, really.
And as you're just pointing out, one of the greatest attractions is the fact that the fuel is free, of course.
Yes. So I suppose our great dream of living off the land, and originally when we planned this, we were going to be eating razorfish, which we dug up from the beach, and we haven't quite got that far, but we have we've got our fuel off the land, and we should take some satisfaction.
Yes,
there.
And we've enjoyed sharing our time with the land, I think. So I think that brings this one to a close. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's just been a gentle preamble, really, and a weekend away. One of Bob and Andy's exciting weekends away. We're not too sure where we're going to go next, but we'll...
Well, you can be sure it's going to be just as exciting as this one.
Yeah, a thrill a minute.
This sponsored programme has been brought to you by theoutdoorstation.co.uk.